Hey guys, Jess from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have for you a 1 week, two planners kind of video, or two planner spreads. So I did this past week, I mapped it out in my vertical and kind of actively used my vertical, and I also mapped it out and decorated it for in my horizontal, just to play around and see. After I did my last video about switching back to the vertical and I was flipping through my horizontal, I was like, I kind of liked my horizontal spreads from 2020. So maybe I want to go back to that. So let me show you first how I mapped out this past week in my vertical. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like when I put the same thing in my horizontal. Again, I didn't use my horizontal actively, so you're not going to see as much like pen in it. So essentially what I did in this particular week was what I've been doing the past couple weeks. You can see here just in different variations, which is creating some sections of my planner, which right now essentially is an appointment section, a work to do, a home to do, a little meals planning section, which I may take this out. And then I've been using this bottom here for highlights and tracking our egg count from our layer hens. Up here I also have weather. So you can kind of see how I'm mapping this out. Essentially what I'm trying to do with the vertical is create these different areas to allow me to track all of those topics or those categories I just shared with you. So I am getting used to using the vertical, but I have to be honest, I'm not in love with it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to it 100% again, or I truly am better off in a horizontal. I don't know. So there's a few things I like about this. Using this so far. So this is kind of like being on the struggle bus with which layout to use. So I do like that obviously I can create a bunch of lists because everything is in columns. The thing that I struggle with, having been in the horizontal all last year, is the narrow width of a vertical planner's columns. It doesn't allow you to put many words on one line unless you write incredibly small. So a lot of times you may need to be using, depending on how you write your to-dos out, you may have to use 2 lines per task, which is totally fine, and which is great about using something like our check boxes or our dots or hexagons, is you can put these at any interval of line you want. So you could take 3 lines to write a task and then put the next dot down. But it does make it a little difficult when you're trying to go ahead and pre-plan and create these sections and you're not sure how many to-dos you're going to have on a given day, that this may be confining, I guess is my point. So that's something I'm not sure about. I do like the aesthetic of the vertical. I do like how it goes with the dates, obviously Monday through Sunday, left to right. I have been enjoying using this empty space here at the top to put some of my weather sticker down and the high and the low for that day. I think what I may do, what I did last week with this was I went ahead and did this preemptively for the whole week. But as you guys know, the weather is never that accurate that far ahead. So I think what I need to do going forward is maybe the day or so before put this down, and the next day put it down, instead of doing it way ahead of time. So if you track weather, let me know how you do it, because I imagine that I'm probably doing this not an efficient way, and I need to only put the weather down for the day coming up, like one day ahead. I did use a combination in the spread of the light mixed palette and the dark mixed, so you can kind of see how the colors are just ever so slightly different. These are obviously darker, more saturated than the rest of the stickers that are light mix in the light mix palette. So I have my meals section down here, and a lot of these headers I just kind of like wrote. I used our blank headers and just put home on it. I used these blank little arrows and wrote meals. I like to write, so I don't mind not having in a header that says exactly everything I need. So there's that. Meal planning, I go back and forth if this is efficient for me. There's definitely sometimes where it is and sometimes where it's not. So like I've always told you guys, we do have a menu planner calendar in our kitchen that is a little bit more useful for us. So I don't always need this down here. The reason I put it down here was there's certain things that are related to our meal plan that I'll need to do. Like for instance, we were gonna have stew, so I needed to remember to feed my starter and then make bread. So sometimes seeing this meal plan here reminds me, oh yeah, the home task you have to do is feed the starter, make the bread, take out the pizza dough, stuff like that. So that's why I put it on here, but I don't know if this is going to be something I do going forward. Let's see what else. And then down here, I use the teardrops in the little right-hand corner of each box to again show you, or to show myself what our egg count was. And then I've been writing in a daily highlight of the day, and then highlighting it with my mild liner to indicate what area of life it is in. I'm not a huge fan of how this looks in here. I did it, you can see on previous weeks too. It adds almost too much color and it looks kind of crazy. So I do think I liked this better, this practice, when I was doing it in my month view, and I haven't been using my month view a lot, so I may shift that as well. So this is essentially been my go-to the past 3 weeks of 2021 with my vertical. I've also had a huge reduction in any time-based things, so this section is essentially getting totally wasted right now. So I'm like kind of, in my opinion, like taking up valuable real estate in my planner and having this space that isn't being well used. So there's that. Okay, so this is last week in my vertical. So now let's look how it looks in the horizontal. And again, I haven't been using this at all. Like I said, I mapped out this spread, but I did not actively use it. Okay, so let's see. Now, right off the bat, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I look at this and I aesthetically like this better. It seems cleaner and less cluttered. Now, that could be simply because there's way more pen on here because I was actively using this planner all last week, where here I wasn't. The first day I did put a few things in because I had this planner sitting on my desk as well, but after that, I'm like, I'm not gonna use 2 planners. So probably what I should have done to give you guys a more accurate portrayal of this was kind of gone back in and put more of these to-dos and these tasks in so you could see how this would evolve through the whole entire week in both planners. But just kind of show you what I did, which was my tried and true thing that I had done all of last year, was divide each day into 2 sections. In this particular week, I just did it with pen. I do like how it looks just with the black pen. And then I took our flag sticker in different colors of the Makse Life palette, and this is the regular mixed palette, not the light. You can see this is light, this is regular, just to show you again the tone difference. Just use the to-do. And what I had planned on here, if I would have used this, was going to be putting essentially like all my to-dos, whether it was home or work. I plan to kind of use this section to put all my to-dos. Oh Jesus, I just hit my camera. And the reason I did that is sometimes I don't have a lot of home-based to-dos. You may hear my dog click-clacking around here in the background, so I apologize. There he goes. You can probably hear his little nails hitting the hardwood floor. Anyways, I could essentially, like, there's 5 here. I can fit 5 here. This day is a little bit bigger, but I think this, you're throughout a year in time, like your to-do list and where you're spending your time and effort evolves. At least mine does. Like, there's times when work is very demanding. I have a lot more going on. So I need to very much so compartmentalize these sections to have a work to-do list and a home to-do list. But what I'm thinking is right now, I can maybe put some things that are very specific to home. Like you can see, like I put feed starter here. Maybe I would put like bake bread, like a very specific 1 or 2 things on this side. Maybe this would be a chore or home or something like that. And then everything else is like work, task, business, lumped in the middle. So I don't know. Obviously I didn't really use it, so we don't know for sure. But I do think I would, I don't know. Let's be real. I probably would make this 2 categories. That would probably drive me nuts if all things were in the same one. So that's what I was envisioning here. And I can see, like, looking at this one, I could definitely have gone, okay, make this list. I could have put that there. Water plants. The few little tasks I have would have easily fit here. I didn't make a big appointment section here in the horizontal because I don't have a lot of appointments. I did use our, if you can see that, our virtual meeting box, because I only had 1 meeting this day and it actually got canceled. The only other time-based thing I have this week is we use Asia Standard to get some bulk stuff, and I used a little shipping because that's when the delivery was coming, and the appointment we were to go pick it up was that time. So that was like a home-based appointment thing. So that's why I put that there. So you can see how that looks. These little teardrops throughout the whole spread were going to be where I put our egg count, just like I did here at the bottom on the vertical. Then to do a meal planner, what I did was I took an outlined box in the light mix palette and put that down each day. I took I think this is the week or the blank header or something like that, wrote meals on it and kind of overlaid it, and then I just wrote L&D for lunch and dinner. Honestly, I don't need to write breakfast. We eat the same breakfast every single day. So this would have worked out really well. But again, I don't even know if I need a menu planner on there. But aesthetically, I really do like how this looks. I like that this box layered with this creates kind of a section of this planner, because that's sometimes what I struggle with the horizontal, is it's like this big open space and I'm like, where do I put things? I don't want to just randomly write stuff. So I like having lines and headers and boxes that give me little areas or little sections to put things. Obviously I use the dot stickers for to-do lists. I did actually, I think I liked better how the weather sticker and the weather looks right here next to the date. So I liked that. And instead of having a highlight written on each day here, like at the bottom in the vertical, I used the note section, just wrote highlights over in one of our headers, wrote Monday, MT, blah, 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 each day of the week, and then I would have wrote the highlight here. Honestly, this is how I did it a lot of last year, and I did like this because I don't use this section. So I think if I were to use this, this would be a good use of that. Saturday and Sunday, I don't divide in half because I honestly never look at my planner on the weekends, but I did go ahead and use our kind of meal icon to note menu planning and our little shopping bag icon to note grocery shopping. I didn't have any of the grocery cart ones left. That's why I use that, but I prefer to use the grocery cart one. Okay, so you can see kind of side by side, I most actively use my planner Monday through Thursday. So if you look at the left, you have the horizontal, and the right, you have the vertical, and you can kind of see how these two look different. And again, obviously this looks way busier because of pen, and this has barely anything on it. But I think when I look at this, I still feel now drawn to the horizontal over the vertical. I feel like I'm trying to get too much stuff on here. There's too much going on. I feel confined in this space. So I actually think I may try using the horizontal next week and see where I end up and what I like. I thought for sure, Mike, I literally filmed a video last week that was like switching back to the vertical and why I did it and why I like it. And I think this planner can work really great. And I think actually more people, planner users, kind of lean towards the vertical because of the fact that I think it is more how our brains work with the week being left to right. I think we kind of think in columns, right? So I think a lot of the vertical seems incredibly intuitive. It's more of like a calendar layout. And again, if you were a lister, maybe you need to convert this planner to an hourly and you use our hourly strips, or you like having more lists and sections that are very kind of, again, almost like symmetrical. Like you can very easily make these sections different heights if you want, or just lay a strip down and go, this is my home section, this is my to-do section. So I think there's a lot of, it's super user-friendly, it's super intuitive. It's great for listers and people that have like maybe a lot of hourly stuff going on, because you can just like bang out a bunch of appointments, use icons, or just write down the dates or appointment labels. So I understand the draw of the vertical, especially if you're a new planner. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm making all this up, but I feel like this one is an easy adjustment into the planner world because it's, again, laid out more like a calendar is traditionally laid out. Whereas your horizontal, Monday through the week going up to down, up to down, top to bottom, is not as intuitive, I think. And you kind of look at this open space here and you might be like, well, what do I do with it, right? Like, okay, yeah, I can just start writing lists, but it doesn't look like your traditional blank, here, let me show you here, list space. Like when you look at this, you're like, oh, this is a list, right? When you look at, let's say this, without, oh, that's not a good example, I have a sticker down on it. If you look at this, you're like, okay, do I write, it looks like a paragraph space. So I think initially, unless you're used to planning in this layout of a planner, or I don't know, you just feel like this makes more sense to your brain, I feel like this initially, in my opinion, the vertical seems more intuitive than the horizontal. But that said, after making a video about switching back to the vertical after being with the horizontal all year, I think the horizontal is calling back to me. So I think I'm going to go potentially next week with this. But essentially why I wanted to do this practice again was to show you guys, if you are, maybe you have both planners, maybe you're one of those people, they call it Team Bob, which is like, I think build your, what does it stand for? Build, basically people are just taking apart their vertical and horizontal and putting them together and like making their own planner. Does anybody know what Team Bob stands for? I don't even know. I'm not hip to sometimes all the planner stuff, but if you're somebody that has both layouts and you're not sure, I just wanted to show you what the same week would look like in both layouts. Maybe you're someone that hasn't bought a planner yet and you're like, I don't know which one is going to be best for me. Or maybe you are team use both and you've Frankensteined your planner together, and you can see some options on how to use each, or maybe you have some ideas for me on how you use each of these week over week. I don't know. Just thought I would kind of show you guys again. I know I've done a few of these series where I'm showing you the same week of different, but 2 different spreads. But I think it, again, can help all of us, myself included, see how to use the space in your planner and the pros and cons of each layout. All right, I'm going to stop talking because I'm actually under 20 minutes and I feel like this was pretty succinct and to the point. Okay, guys, so this is where I'm at. I'm going to guess you might see some pictures on Instagram next week of my horizontal. I did lay this sticker down preemptively and have a few tasks in there. This is one of we have our, what do you call it? Our full length washi strips now. Let me see, do I have them sitting here? I don't, but they're available in striped and two-tone, so we were taking pictures, and I'm like, I'm gonna lay this down. So maybe this is a sign that I need to use this planner. We shall see. Okay, that is all. Stopping now. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you're doing well. Let me know which layout you vote that I use. Tell me below, should I use horizontal or vertical next week? And let me know what you're using, and I will see you in the next video.